It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. Of course, we begin in Delta State, where Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and his predecessor, Okowa, have formally been received into the All Progressives Congress following their defection from the opposition People's Democratic Party last week. Political analysts say the move is a historic one that could mark the collapse of PDP's 26-year dominance in the oil-rich state. Jemima Boloko reports.
In a dramatic political earthquake, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and former Governor Okowa officially crossed over to the ruling All Progressive Congress Party. Before a mammoth crowd at the cenotaph in Asaba, the Delta State capital, Vice President Kashim Shettima, APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje, and other party heavyweights, including former Deputy Senate President Ovi Omar Agege, formally welcomed the defectors. Describing the move as a movement, not a defection, Oborevwori says the switch is fueled by what he calls President Bola Tinubu's organic love for Delta State.
You have come, I've seen, Mr. President, Vice President. What you have seen here today is a movement. It's not a defection. It's a movement. We have done consultation with the National Assembly, with leadership, with stakeholders at the state level, at the senatorial level, at the local government level, at the ward level. And we all decided.
Your Excellencies, Governor Sheriff Francis Oborevwori, and former Governor Okowa, and the other great men and women we welcome to the APC today. I bring with them the warm assurance of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR and all members of the APC. You are not just in this house, you are now co-owners.
APC, we believe in progressive ideas. We believe in proximity, interacting with different levels of our party. Now it is my honor and privilege to hand over this flag and our symbol, the broom, to this great man who has now come into our great party APC.
We are here to identify with him, and we are here also to assure the good people of Delta State that this decision is the wisest decision that will lift this state from where you are now to the next level.
All state lawmakers, local government chairmen and councillors joined the mass migration, collapsing the PDP's 26 years hold on the oil-rich state. Former governor and PDP vice presidential candidate Okowa echoes the sentiment, calling it a bold, patriotic and necessary step to realign Delta's future with Abuja.
As I did tell people that day, it was not about me. It was not about the governor, but the fact that there is a need for us to connect to Abuja. That goodwill that is in Abuja, that resource that is in Abuja, of which Delta State is a large contributor, there was a need to connect to it.
The defection sends shockwaves across Nigeria's political landscape just 2 years before the pivotal 2027 elections. The people of Delta also react to this defection.
It's an irony for the governor to decamp no matter what happens. The possibility is that he will not go for second term. It doesn't matter because he was once a speaker and now a governor. So we cannot make Nigeria one-party state where there's no opposition. It's wrong. I was totally against that decamping.
Because of the person that put him in that seat, move to APC. You now move to APC. For what? It's not good. You are not teaching us, you are not leading us in a good way. So that's the only thing. I let him go back to PDP. That's what we want.
With the Delta State stronghold and now under APC's control, attention shifts to how this realignment will reshape political strategies nationwide as 2027 elections draw closer. Jemima Boloko, Arise News, Asaba, Delta.
Well, staying on politics, former governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Sule Lamido, and several influential activists have warned against coercive and arm-twisting defections by politicians, particularly elected public office holders, with the mandate of the people and on the platforms of other political parties. This was as some civil society activists in Nigeria have expressed worries over what they described as a calculated and systematic effort by the present administration to dismantle democratic foundations and reduce Nigeria to a one-party state. However, speaking on the state of the nation, Lamido accused President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress of misusing state institutions, particularly INEC, the police, and EFCC, to crush dissent, warning that such a tactic would ultimately backfire in no time. Also, a former national vice chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC Northwest Zone, Salihu Lukman, who maintained that the Bola Tinubu administration had disappointed Nigerians, despite the confidence initially reposed in him, has noted that the mission of the proposed coalition was to ensure that Tinubu did not return in 2027. Well, in other developments, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi San yesterday urged Nigerian judges to be fully conversant with Nigeria's new electricity law, declaring that swift and informed judicial interventions are crucial to sustaining the power sector reforms. Fagbemi spoke in Abuja at the opening ceremony of the 2025 edition of the Seminar on Power Sector for Judicial Officers organized by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, in collaboration with the National Judicial Institute. Fagbemi said the seminar was timely and critical as Nigerians collectively worked to strengthen and expand the legal and regulatory framework governing the power sector. He stressed that the judiciary must play a proactive role in interpreting and enforcing the evolving regulatory frameworks shaping the country's power industry, stating that the electricity sector is undergoing significant transformation with the new law. Delivering her goodwill message, Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, highlighted the impact of the decentralization of the power sector with increased investments in off-grid and solar mini-grid solutions and the emergence of a dual electricity market framework. Well, a lot to do with politics, but also glad to see that some sort of advocacy for the power sector is also coming to the front burner.
Okay, let's deal with the political issues that would seem to be of the moment. Now, part of my worry is that, we are getting to a situation in this country where we may not again, or we will not know the difference between politicians and Nollywood actors. Many of these politicians are beginning to behave like they are in Nollywood. And I think that Governor Oborevwori's comedic appearance yesterday fits more into the mode of Nollywood than serious politicking. He was saying that the defection is a movement, it's not a defection. What is the meaning of that? No, he should be honest enough. The point I made yesterday, that look, he's looking out for his own interest. He's now the leader of the politics in Delta State. Very smart move. Yesterday, I said, he looks like a very clever fellow. So he should not jump from that and come on air and tell the people of Delta State he's doing it for their own good. Let the people of Delta State make up their minds whether this is for their own good or it is for Oborevwori's own good. My own calculation, my own observation, is that Oborevwori is looking out for himself. So if he wants to defect, he can defect. Section 40 of the Nigerian Constitution offers him the freedom to associate freely. The other thing, he said members of the National Assembly from Delta State are also going to move into the APC, and he has concrete evidence in that regard. That's one other thing that he said. Well, let him be reminded that we have this, movement here and there in Nigerian politics, despite Mr. Bayo Ononuga's statement that this is the same pattern in other parts of the world, because the Constitution has not been tested enough. In Section 68, in Section 109, paragraph 1G, if you leave your party, you move to the other party, you automatically lose your seat. There is a caveat in sub G, paragraph 1G of Section 109, which says, well, except you can prove that there is division in your party. Oborevwori must be reminded of this. What is the division in the Delta PDP that has prompted this? Other than the change of mind or heart on the part of the governor who wants to ensure that he holds on to his positions. Now, the APC was there, the chairman of the party, the vice president, and they said what they needed to say. If other people are leaving their own political party, they are coming to your own, you will welcome them now. It's a natural thing to say. And, the point was made by the vice president that they are being brought into the party as brothers and not as people who are guests. Of course, these are adults. Now, to the other point made by Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, former governor, he was saying that, look, there is a special thing in Abuja that the people of Delta State must enjoy. Again, that raises a very fundamental issue about how Nigeria is organized. The thinking that you have to align with the center for your state or your people to be able to enjoy their benefits under the Constitution of Nigeria. What Senator Okowa was saying, he was practically pointing attention to part of the problem of Nigeria. That, look, this is not about principle, this is not about ideology. It is about what my people can eat. Michel Arong wrote a right book, the book was not wrong, about what to eat in Kenyan politics. And this is the old drama. It's my turn to eat. Michel Arong titled that book. So whether it's in Kenya or it's in Nigeria, people just want to eat. That's Michel Arong's argument. Although the book is focused more on John Gitongo, who was the anti-corruption czar in Kenya within the framework of, the content of that particular book. I don't need to summarize the book. Michel Arong, it is our turn to eat. And Governor Okowa is saying, if people of Delta State want to eat, they must align with Abuja. I don't think that is good for Nigerian democracy. I don't think that is a very good idea. Well, Alhaji Sule Lamido, Senator Lukman, Malam Alhaji Lukman, they have said that, look, the whole objective of the Tinubu administration is to create a one-party state. Well, we have argued this, we have made the point, we have quoted Bayo Ononuga issuing a statement and saying that that is not true. That people are moving into the APC because the APC is doing well. Now, former Governor Sule Lamido says, coercive defection is not good for Nigerian democracy. But these people who are defecting, They are saying they want to defect. And the Nigerian Constitution gives you the right to express yourself, to choose who you want to associate. It gives you even the right to be contrarian. So they will say they are acting as citizens. But we, as the people of Nigeria, are saying that, look, for this democracy to be healthy, all tendencies should be allowed to play. We have also made the point that these defections and all of that, yesterday I was quoting Senator Shekarau, that look, if you say you are forming a coalition, except it's the party itself that is moving, nothing can come out of it. Except it's the people themselves that are moving. You are not forming any coalition, and you are not doing any opposition politics. And this is the dilemma that has been thrown up in Delta State, frontally now, and also in Akwa Ibom State, where the governor says he will not defect, but he wants to support Baba Tinubu. So what are the people saying? I would like to see a situation in 2027 where it is the people that decide, the people of Nigeria, choosing their own leaders, communicating with their stomachs. We are very hungry. We have had issues with fuel. We have had issues with electricity supply. Now, let us see the attitude of the Nigerian people, the voice of the people, their power to choose. And now the Nigerian state, under President Tinubu, allows the people of Nigeria to choose, to speak, to say whether they are the ones who are supporting the APC, not politicians who say they are doing it for the good of the people. The gut feeling of most Nigerians is that these politicians are doing it for themselves. So if Oborevwori wants to join Nollywood, or he has plans to join Nollywood, he's welcome to it. But I thought coming to tell us this is for the good of the people of Delta State. This is not a defection. This is a movement. Which movement? He's the one moving. And he should be sincere enough, very honest enough, to say, I'm moving. We don't have a problem with that. But to do a Nollywood acting about what does he think is talking to children?
Certainly, quite a spectacle we did witness in Asaba yesterday as Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, as well as the entire structures of Delta State, were welcomed officially into the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress. I found it to be quite an ironic moment because all of the things that we said were the things that they echoed. They said them with their own mouths. We were speaking about a one-party state. Not just us. Every section of society has been speaking about the creation of a one-party state. We have broken down the fundamentals of how one-party states are created because this is not happening for the first time in Nigeria. Historically, there are possibly thousands of examples of how one-party states have created. We broke down those fundamentals. We spoke about a competitive political environment. We spoke about the overbearing power of the center. Where is federalism? When you have a former governor coming to say we have to connect to Abuja for the common good. That's an indictment. It's an absolute indictment. So for me, I found it quite ironic that it came out of his mouth. It was almost a moment of truth, a confession that at the end of the day, there's nothing for us. It's cold outside. There's nothing for us unless we move and play the game the way it's supposed to be played. No problem. It's all fair and fine for the elites who always find their position. They always land on their feet. They rotate and they find ways to survive. But what of the common good that we speak of? Just the average person, you and I, what is in it for us? That's the question everybody wants to know. Well, there's another concerning development. While we're focusing on the movement of governors, We need to ensure that we do not neglect the movement of senators and the movement of legislators in the House of Representatives. Currently, we are sitting at 66 out of 109 senators in the National Assembly representing the ruling party. That includes the 2 NNPP senators who will join when plenary resumes. However, 73 is the number that makes a 2/3 majority in the Nigerian Senate. What is the significance of a 2/3 majority in the Senate? Well, that gives the ruling party the power to do all in any situation at any moment. Yes, we often mock and say, we laugh about it and we say we have a rubber stamp assembly. Well, to be honest with you, we haven't seen anything yet until we get to 2/3 majority. We know that notoriously in other climes, 2/3 majority is what is used even for tenure elongation. Because once you have that 2/3 majority, the world is your oyster. Your whims are translated into legislation. It's the disappearance of accountability. It's the disappearance of a body that is supposed to be able to ensure that there are checks and balances. We're at 66. So that means we are now 7 senators away from that 2/3 majority. And it's very important for the public to go to their senators who they voted for and ask them some questions and seek accountability from them and remind them on whose mandate they truly stand. Because yes, we laugh and we joke when the politicians sing, "On your mandate we shall stand." But the honest truth is that the mandate belongs to the 200 million Nigerians, 90 million of which are able to vote. Unfortunately, only about 20-something% actually contribute to the voting. However, these are the conversations we need to have at the moment as we continue to see where this is going. Let's not just focus on the governors because there's a temptation to do so. There's this new pattern, if I may call it that way, we're saying that the governors are moving with their entire structures, and that is an alarming development. What are the CSOs saying? The CSOs are saying that the state institutions are now being weaponized against the opposition. This is not a new call. However, we're now seeing it gaining momentum in various areas. So it is increasingly important for us to continue to demand accountability to ensure we don't rest on our laurels when it comes to keeping this conversation on the front burner and also holding the opposition accountable. Because yes, we can put all the emphasis on the ruling party that is being accused of coercive tactics that we're all aware of in many instances. However, it's also the job of the opposition to remember that the work of opposition is not a walk in the park. Go back in Nigerian history and ask yourselves if we would be where we are today if the opposition cowed to the whims of the center at every opportunity. Certainly we wouldn't. So I really do appeal to our opposition in this moment to rise up to the occasion, to remember why they are opposition and the duty that they are called to, and to stand firm because the people need their voices to ensure that we hold this administration and any administration accountable.